Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie Shelton and this is Rethink Fabulous. Today on Rethink Fabulous, we are going to be looking at some of my favorite Valentine DIYs. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, I'm going to start out with this Dollar Tree wooden heart that we've all seen 100 times every year. I made a lot of fun DIYs with this. This one I just added some wrapping paper and kind of distressed it and put it in the top of my tree. And this one I took some sweaters that were my daughter's from when she was a baby and covered them, the hearts with those sweaters. I really love using old clothing that were my children's when they were little for my DIYs. That way they're not stuck away in a box where I can't see them. All right, this next one I call a Valentine sack, and I just use that wooden heart as the back base of the heart, and then I took an old sweater and made the V part of the heart. And it's going to be something similar to a Christmas stocking, but for Valentine's Day. I just stuff it with a lot of fun goodies, and that way when my kids wake up in the morning on Valentine's, they can get in their little bag and see what Cupid brought them. And here is one that I did in the typical Valentine colors, pink, red, and white. And you can add all sorts of ribbons and laces and trims on them, as you can see here, and just decorate it as much as you want. I actually put a little tag on this one that has my daughter's name. This next little heart, I just took some white fabric and added some stuffing to the wood heart and then glued the fabric around the edges. Then I used some of my scrap ribbon and trims and just put it randomly on the heart and made this beautiful, soft looking heart. All right, here's that wood heart again, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different. The thing I love about this heart is that you can paint it or you can stain it, and that's exactly what I did here. I used my Waverly wax, and I just kind of aged it, and then I took one of my cursive writing stamps and stamped all over the wood heart, and then I aged the sides with some dark black paint. This one, I Mod Podged a paper doily from the Dollar Tree on it and then put that Waverly wax right over the top, added some florals and some scraps of ribbon, and cut out a page from a book, aged it with the wax, and made a little envelope. This one I did the handwriting on it in my own handwriting, just because the person that I was making it for, I just thought it would be a little more sentimental if it was done in my writing. And then I added some florals and a ribbon across the top. Here's that same heart in a tree, so I'm just showing how you can use it as a chunky ornament if you have a Valentine's tree. And then here's another picture of it where it shows that I made some of the flowers out of some drop cloth and added some pearls in the middle and then added just regular greens. These angel wings with this beautiful heart is truly one of my favorite DIYs. This is actually a class that I offer over on the website, and you can check that out at the Rethink Fabulous Facebook page. And I just think this is absolutely beautiful. It can be used year-round. It can also be used, of course, for Valentine's Day. All right, the next DIY, I'll be using the wire heart frame and a round frame. This picture on the bottom left is the heart frame, and I just used the paper doilies from the Dollar Tree and wrapped it around the frame. And then I used one of the wood hearts, painted it gray, and added some ribbon and greenery across the top. Also, I used the round frame and did the exact same technique with the paper doilies, just wrapping them around and gluing them, and then just added some greenery up around the side and some ribbon across the middle. This is a fun DIY to do. A lot of people do these, but they are the fake food. So I just made some fake hot chocolate, painting the cup on the inside, and then using the Dollar Tree spackle, adding some white paint to make the whipped cream, and then just using some cake decorating tips to squeeze that on so that it looks realistic, and then adding some sprinkles or some caramel colored paint on top and a straw. This is a picture of all of the items together. You can see there's chocolate on some of them and fake caramel on the others. All right, now these candy canes may look like they're for Christmas, but really I love them most of all for Valentine's Day. These are original ideas that I came up with, and I love this one. I just took an old sweater that I had. It was kind of a sheer sweater with lace, and I covered the back of it. I wrapped those candy canes with some jute, and I did some florals up along the side. You can see I added a little heart there with a different kind of lace and some succulents. Now here is a picture of the big one and a small one next to it, just so you can see the different sizes. But I used the small candy canes to make these. The small one did the exact same kind of technique, and then I made some little rosettes with a coffee filter, a white one, and then one in the natural brown coffee filter as well, and added some moss and some beads, and I think it turned out adorable. And here I'm just showing that you could put a couple of these in a wreath, just to, liven up an old plain wreath. All right, here's those candy canes again. This is kind of a different version of that. This is a chalkboard heart that I made. And if you look real close, I covered the candy canes with strips of book paper. I just used glue and I cut them in strips. There you can see it. And covered that, wrapped it around the candy cane. And then I used some drop cloth to make a ruffle, and I just kind of gathered it as I went along, and then I made a cute little envelope out of a piece of book paper. And then I used a bunch of my scraps of ribbon and just made this beautiful bow to put on one side. And then I got some of the glitter Dollar Tree birds. And I love using those because I love to paint right over the top of them and it makes them look like stone. Painted them white and then went over it with my Waverly antiquing wax. And then I took those same book pages and made wings. I then used some of the Spanish moss to make a little nest for the birds and set the two little lovebirds in the center. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can use the black foam board as a chalkboard. So I just laid my candy canes on top of the foam board, traced it to size, and then glued that on the back of the candy canes. And then you can write on it just like you would a chalkboard. All right, this next one, I'm using the tinsel hearts. I believe it was 3 hearts attached to each other, a pink, a silver, and a red one. I just took them apart and pulled the tinsel off. And then with one of them, I wrapped some chunky yarn just for this simple white yarn heart. And the other one, I just covered, I took the tinsel off and then I covered it with the moss. All right, this is a little red truck from a couple years ago, and I just sanded the glitter off of it, and then I repainted it in this gray color, and then I added a little side rails on it with some popsicle sticks and painted them, and then added this cute little year-round floral arrangement in the back. Then for Valentine's Day, I just added a couple little pink rosettes and this felt heart that I got from the Dollar Tree. I just taped that on the back of it. That way when Valentine's is over, I can take it out and add little carrots and maybe a bunny in it for spring. All right, these next ones are another one of my favorites. So simple and easy, but so cute. These are the Dollar Tree magnets, and then I used 2 of the wood hearts, and I covered them with fabric and stuffed them. And then I ran out, and they didn't have any more, so I took some foam board, and I traced the wood hearts, and all the rest of these hearts are made out of the Dollar Tree foam board. And I just took whatever remnants of fabric that I had. I glued it on top of the foam board, stuffed it, left a little opening, stuffed them, and then decorated them with a bunch of my scrap ribbons. You can use these in a tree if you want to decorate a tree here. I put them on some canisters because they have the magnets on the back, so it just gives a different look. Here's a different heart that I added. And then I used one of the rags in the automotive department from the Dollar Tree to make this red one, and I just taped it off and painted a little stripe on it. This one I took some drop cloth and used my cursive writing stamp and just ink stamped right on the fabric and made the heart that way. Now here is a little canister set. Again, you can change the whole look without Mod Podging or gluing something on by using magnets. So you've got this look with the red one, and then here is the whole set of canisters that I put a magnet on each one of them just to give them each a different look. And then when Valentine's is over, I can take that off. And here I just added a little heart on my bread box just to give that little touch of Valentine's Day in my kitchen. And again, this is a perfect way to use scrap fabric. Just doesn't take very much fabric, and you can paint on it, stamp on it, all sorts of different fun things. This is actually a crocheted sweater that I got at a thrift store, and I just cut out the little flowers from the sweater and glued them on. And then this one here is just black foam board that I kind of scraped on some white paint so that it looks like wood. And then if you want, you can just put them in a dough bowl or a big wooden bowl to display them. And you can give them to friends or family and give them a picture of you and them together, and they can stick that on their refrigerator. All right, now this one, I think Dollar Tree carries this felt heart pretty much every year, but I took this and I laid it on a piece of foam board. I traced around it and traced all the little designs in the center. And then I took an X-Acto knife and I cut out all of the traced areas so that it looks like a wood carved heart. Now this was something that the internet absolutely loved and all the crafters loved. This is an original idea that I had, but it is so fun, and I know a lot of people really loved it. Here you can see the side of it, how thick it is, and you can find exactly how to make this and get that thickness on the Rethink Fabulous Facebook page. That's where the full tutorial is. This is a great project that you can hang on the wall, or you can just set it on a shelf. Here in this picture, I just set that on a shelf. You could put it in a big wreath. Just a lot of fun things that you can do with it. All right, this next one are these little container hearts. They're plastic, and you can put little candies in them or whatever you want inside of them. They open up. And I went ahead and did a galvanized metal painting technique on them, and then made it look rusted and added a cute little bow. They have a little tab at the top where you can string some string through and hang them on a tree for a Valentine's tree. Now this is a big bowl that I also found at the Dollar Tree, and it's kind of the size of like a salad bowl, and I did the exact same painting technique on this, and you can glue it on a piece of foam board if you want, and then attach something on the back to where you can hang it on the wall. This one I just kind of set on a little canister on this pedestal, and I think it turned out really neat. All right, now this little angel started out as a Christmas angel, and she had bright colored clothes on. I think maybe they were gold and red. I think it was a red velvet dress that she had on. I can't really remember, but I took all of that off. I stripped her down. I painted her white, and then I went over with the antiquing wax. Then I used some of the scrap material from, shirts and stuff like that, and made this beautiful little dress. And then for her wings, I just used a bunch of greenery, and I think she turned out gorgeous. This next heart and our last DIY is one of the tinsel puffy Valentine hearts, and I just ripped all of that off, and I used coffee filters to fill it in and glued coffee filters all in the plastic grids of this frame. And then I just used the Dollar Tree Valentine metal word across it, and I think it is so cute for Valentine's. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, give it a big thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And let me know down in the comments which DIY was your favorite. And remember, you can find all the full tutorials for all of these on the Rethink Fabulous Facebook page, and also check out Rethink Fabulous on Instagram.